Hey Pony Pals! So today I will be making a My Little Pony custom dipper from Gravity Falls. I'm using an Applejack, and the supplies you will need will be, you will need these paint colors: dark blue for the vest, white and black, red, and this pink, which I'm going to explain later, and this light blue for the fur color. You will also be needing clay. I am making this as simple as possible. So this is air dry clay, no bake. I can't do that. Not good at it. And I'm using a little thin paintbrush and a thicker one. Lots of materials, but the end result will be pretty good. So come back to you. Okay, so we all know Dipper's not blonde, so that's why this brown Sharpie comes into play. So I'm just having a nice solid tin foil, or you can use paper, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to slowly use this marker and sort of paint on the hair. And you may be thinking like, man, that's just going to make it all hard and crunchy, but actually it doesn't. It leaves a pretty nice look. So yeah, just color at least most of the hair with the brown, and yeah. Okay, so now that I've painted on with the marker most of her hair brown, she's looking pretty good actually so far. I'm going to cut these little blonde ends off because his hair's short. I'm going to eventually cut it anyways. And same with the tail. You can color as much or as little as you want. It doesn't really matter. So yeah, so then after this you start painting, and once again go back to the painting video I made a while back and you can learn from there. So I just finished his base coat. It looks pretty nice from the camera, but actually it's got lots of flaws. Like if you can see, there's, little speckles and everything. That's okay. That's what your base coat's supposed to have, a white base coat. So you've seen the video. That's how the base coat works, and now I'm going to be mixing the paint for his fur. In my headcanon, he is blue. I know, some people like skin color, I think blue. So this blue is a little more tealy. If you can't see here, it's a little more teal. So I'm just going to drop a little bit of white. Yep, so do it exactly what you did with the base coat. Just be a little bit more specific. Like, be a little bit more accurate with your paint strokes. So, yeah, I'll see you a little bit. Okay, now that I've painted Dipper nice light blue, I will be using a technique, simple technique, just to paint on the eyes and cutie mark, and then we'll work on the hat and the vest. I'll also be using red for the shirt. I'm going to paint on the shirt, not quite on the legs like here, more up here. I'm going to mix the red and this pink, because his shirt isn't exactly 100% red. It's more of an orangey red, so I'm going to add red and pink together to give the perfect shade. Okay, now that his paint job is done, time to cut the hair. Okay, I'm using a full-sized comb, and just going to comb it out. It combs relatively easily since we use Sharpie instead of paint. Okay, now I'm just going to take these little blonde edges and one by one just snip them off. Okay, so I cut off the ends, and you can see there's still a little bit of blonde over here because I decided to make it a little longer. So I'm just going to go over those blonde parts with my brown Sharpie again. Now that Dipper himself is all good, I'm going to use the clay to sculpt his hat and his vest. I'm taking a lump of clay, putting some blue paint in, just gonna color the clay. Now I have my lump of Dipper blue clay. I'm just gonna eyeball where should this go, because this is gonna be for the vest. So sort of put it on him to your own liking, whatever you think looks best. So this is how my vest turned out. I'm not 100% satisfied with the color, So I'm just going to, once the clay dries, I'm going to go over with a dark blue. So now time for his hat. I'm just going to be using some of that weird bluey kind of clay that I mixed up earlier, and I'm going to form it to his head. Okay, I used some extra clay and I formed this little hat for his little hat. I made it slightly bigger than his ears so it can't quite fit in. That's where his ears are going to mold it. So I'm like pressing down. And it makes like a little shape. This is the shape of his hat. Now I'm just going to style his hair in a fashion that would look appealing. Okay, so I pressed the hat into his ears, and now it's left a little print. I'm going to let this dry, and then I'm going to glue gun it onto his head. Okay, so Dipper's drying over there. I did some extra little painting on other spots that weren't painted so well, and I finished the hat. I painted the hat. It's pretty self-explanatory. It's just his hat. Blue, blue, white, pine tree. And on the bottom, it's still the same little curved area for his ears. That's so his ears can still stick out and will fit well into the hat. So once Dipper finally dries, I'll show you how to glue it on. Okay, now I have my glue gun. Dipper's all good. And his hat. So I want to give him that look that he has in the show. So I'm going to take this hair and kind of twirl it here. Like give it a little spin and set it down here. So it looks like this. And then I'm going to glue the hat down. So it'll look something like that. This is what Dipper looks like with his hat on. The only thing I need to do is cut his little ponytail. Make it a little bit more accurate. So before I actually start cutting, what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist his hair and sort of make a little ball on the back, because that's how his hair is. I'm going to take a little dab of glue gun, stick it on, and then cut off the excess. Okay, now is an optional choice. You can use some varnish to give it a nice coat where it'll be less likely to scratch off. So there you have it, a Gravity Falls Dipper. Leave in the comments other characters you'd like me to make. Peace out, bye Pony Pals.